Masechet Nazir Daf Vav. We are in the middle of an important machloket between Rav Matana and Bar Pada about Stam Nazirut. If someone just says Hareni Nazir without indicating a time period, how long is that? Rav Matana says 30 days. He learns it from Gematria Vihiyeh. Bar Pada, on the other hand, says 29 days. And he learns it from the number of times that says the word Nazir and Neder. Okay, so now that we have these two opinions, we're going to ask a series of questions. These questions are going to be from 7 sources. The first one is from our Mishnah here in this Perek, the very first Mishnah, the Mishnah that we just cited, which is just short, is very short Mishnah. It says Stam Nazirut Sheloshim Yom, standard 30 days. So we understand according to Rav Matana. That's it, 30 days. That's what Matana said, 30 days, like Yihiyeh. But about Pada, what are you going to do with that? And so Pada will answer, no, it's really 29 days. When you say 30 days in the Mishnah, you mean that's the 30th day is the day that he's going to shave. So he finishes 29 days, and then the 30th is the +1. Okay, so we got our Mishnah and our Perek out of the way, but now the Gemara is going to turn to the third Perek of Masechet Nazir, and it's going to ask 6 more questions. So altogether we have 7 questions, or rather 7 sources, and so the rest of the 6 is going to be all from that third Perek. We already saw two more questions on the previous daf. A quick review is necessary because we're going to refer back to them. So the first Mishnah in that Perek said, if I'm a Nazir, then he can shave on the 31st day. That's good for the Matana. But Bar Pada, why do you need the 31st day? And Bar Pada answers with the next clause in that Mishnah, which says, B'di Avad, 30th day is fine. So you see, 30 days is perfect. So Bar Pada can say, listen, round it up, right, and do 30. Great. But B'di Avad, it's all you need is 29 days and shave on the 30th day. So actually, the Mishnah is a good source about Bar Pada. What is Rav Matana going to do with it? So he answers, the Ela Sefer Maseyaleh, Resha Nasa Keomer Shelemin. It must be that was according to Bar Pada. The Resha is when you said, oh, it's as if it's full. Okay, now Rav Matana, how's he going to explain the Sefer? Here's what we need to remember. Miksat Hayom Kekulo, the Sefer that says, B'di Avad, 30 days is enough. That is assuming the rule that part of a day is like a whole day. Therefore, since he did the 30th day in the morning, he was a Nazir, we consider that as if he finished the 30th day, and B'di Avad, he can't even shave on the 30th day. All right, so now we answered the question according to everyone. Now we get to the third question, which also we mentioned yesterday. The Mishnah says, if he says, I'm going to be a Nazir for 30 days, not Stam, he actually says 30 days, he shaves im gileach yom sheloshim lo yasa. Then he's not good enough if he does it the 30th day. That's a question because you just said part of a day is like a whole day. And here, if he shaves on the 30th day, it's not good. Why not? Why not say part of the day is like the whole day? So we say, oh, Be'omer Shelemin, but he meant when he said 30th day, or maybe actually said 30 full days. If you say 30 full days, then you cannot apply the law Miksat Hayom Kekulo. Okay, that's what we got up to. And now we're going to ask 4 questions from 4 more sources, which is the continuation of the Mishnayot in the third Perek. Let's actually look at those Mishnayot inside, so because they'll make more sense when we see them in the original, and then we could see how the Gemara here is quoting them. It's very interesting that it's going step by step through these Mishnayot, because as we're going to see in a second, a lot of the answers are the same as answers we already gave to the previous questions. And so the Rosh points out here, this is the way of the Gemara to ask a question, even though we know the answer is going to be the same as a question we already answered. But that's the way of the Gemara to go through the exercise of asking the questions anyway. I may add that this can almost see this as a kind of commentary on the third Perek of the Mishnah, because it really quotes each one step by step. You can even see it as a way of helping to memorize the third Perek of Mishnah. Instead of just memorizing it straightforward, you put it in a question-answer form. And by doing that, you're processing each Mishnah and what each Mishnah says above and beyond the one before. So this would be a good way of actually studying the third Mishnah, putting it into using each one as a question to Rav Matana or Bar Pada. All right, and so now we're up to the next question from this Mishnah. This Mishnah teaches, someone said, I'm going to Nazar shte Nazirot. He says, Hareni Nazir, Hareni Nazir. So then he has to serve two Nazirut periods, one back to back, 30 days and 30 days. But let's count them exactly. Megalech Tarishona, Yom Shiloshim Ve'achad, Ve'tashaniya, Yom Shishim Ve'achad. So ideally, you should shave for the first one on the 31st day. In other words, 30 full days, shave on the 31st day. That 31st day, however, can also count as day number one for the second set. So therefore, the second, so he'll do from day 31 till day 60. That's a full 30 days. And then he'll shave a second time on day 61. That would be the ideal lechatechila. However, b'di'avad, if the first period of 30 he shaved on the 30th day, which we saw, b'di'avad is okay. We could say miksat hayom kekulo for that 30th day. Then megalechet hashaniya yom shishim. That's fine, and you can count that day 30 as number one. If you count that day 30 as number one, then you'll get to day 59 will be the 30th day, and then the day 60 will be the 31st day, and so he's counting the full. The first one was the b'di'avad, second one would be lechatechila. However, if you do b'di'avad for both of them, you can also do that. V'im gilach yom shishim chaser achad yasa. If for the first 30 days you shaved on the 30th day, practicing misat yom kekulo. So that was the 30, and you shaved on that day. And count day 30 as number one for the next set. And then you count from that, including that day, the 30th day. From there will be day 59. And if you count that also as miksat hayom kekulo, then you're also shaving on that day. So in 59 days, since that middle day is overlapping and doing double duty as miksat hayom kekulo for the first nizirut, and the end of the day miksat hayom kekulo for the second set of 30 days, so you can get two nizirut periods, b'di'avad, into one 59-day period. Okay, so that's important to understand. Now we can skip to the end of this. Right, and this gives the general principle that the 30th day counts for the counting, is ratcheted up towards the count. In other words, it's both ways. You count it for the first 30 and for the last 30. The Gemara is going to quote this in a slightly different way. But now you see it inside. Okay, now we're ready to begin. This is the fourth question of the series of 7. Tenan. According to just the beginning, that you do 30 days, full 30 days, shave on the 31st, count that as one, and then shave 31 days after that. We understand according to Matana, you have to be a Nazir for a full 30 days, and only then shave. Count that as one, full 30 days, and only then shave. What are you going to do about that? You said only 29 days. Why would you have to wait till 31? But Pada says, don't leave me alone. Look at the next part of that very Mishnah. B'di'avad, if you shaved on the 30th day, then that's okay. That fulfills one. And then you just count for 30 days from there. You know what? That part of the sefa, that part of the Mishnah actually supports bar pada. So it's 29 days, and then that you shave on the 30th. Resha be'omer shilamin. What are you going to do with the resha? Oh, that says ideally you should wait 30 days and then shave on the 31st day. That's if he said 30 full days. Either he said that, or another version of the Gemara says it's as if he said that, right? So that's lechatechila. Fill it out. make it as if he said a full 30 days and then do the 31st day. That's the chetechila. B'di'avad, though, really it's only 29 days. Good. So Bar Padas defended himself. Now back to the matana. But this is all within the fourth question, right? In other words, it's the question from the fourth source, but we're going to go back and forth to make sure everyone can account for this source. So Ramatana, what are you going to do with the sefa that says you can shave on the 30th day itself? Ramatana says, I'll solve this as I did before, assuming miksat hayom kekulo, and we're going to assume miksatim kekulo applies both for backwards and forwards, right? That 30th day, I can count as miksatim kekulo. Since I was a Nazir in the morning, it's as if I finished my Nazirut for the 30th day. I shave on that day, and then I'll count it as day number 1 for what's following, right? So that's why it is 30 days, miksatim kekulo. Okay, now we ask, what are you telling us that this Mishnah teaches us? That is it teaching us this principle that part of a day is like a whole day? We already had the previous Mishnah where you gave that as an answer. So we already know from the previous Mishnah where it says, B'di'avad, if you did 30, it's okay. And you explained to us that Mishnah is teaching that part of a day is like a whole day. That's why I can shave on the 30th day. So why would I need this Mishnah here to tell me the same principle? And the answer is because if I only had Mishnah number 1 in chapter 3, I would know only that I might say that I can apply part of the days like the whole day only to one Nizirut, right? If I have just one period, 30th day, I start the 30th day, that counts as the whole thing, I can shave on that day. But I wouldn't think that I can use that day as part of the day for the previous 30 and part of the day also for the next 30. That's why in this Mishnah to teach me that, yes, I can apply part of the day is like the whole day, both ways. All right, very good. So that solves that Mishnah. And now we're going to go on in the next part of that very Mishnah. So this is question number 5. Tenan. Im gilech yom shishim haser ahad yasa. If he ended up doing a b'di'avad situation and shaved the first time on the 30th day and the second time on the 59th day, that's okay. Sheyom shlushim oleh lo min haminyan, because the 30th day counts for both ways. We understand this according to the Matana. I need to know this, that you can apply a b'di'avad and b'di'avad as we just mentioned. But according to the Pada, isn't this obvious? He said it's 29 days. So this is perfectly fine, right? I have 29 days and you shaved on the 30th, and that counts. So you don't need any miksatem kikulo. That's the day. That 30th day counts as number 1, full 29 days, and then the 30th day after. So pada, why do you need to tell me this? You see, the Gemara is never happy, right? If it doesn't work for someone, then you have a question. If it does work for him, and then you say, why do you need to tell me that? It's a peshita. So what's this coming to teach? Pada will tell you, Pada says, that's my very source. Why are you asking me, why do I need this? I need this because this is my main source, right? That it's only 29 days. I looked over the Mishnah, I read the Mishnayot myself, right? And I saw that this clause, especially more than any other, assumes that you need only 29 days. Otherwise, you have to follow all these rules of miksatim kikulo both ways. I don't want to have any of that. So that's why this is not Peshita for me. This is actually my source. Okay, good. We accept. Now, number 6. Tenan. Mishamar hareni Nazir. Nitma yom sheloshim soter et hakol. This is actually the next Mishnah. So let's look at that together. Someone said, I'm going to be a Nazir. And so that's standard, whatever, 30 days. 29 days, 30 days, and it became tameh on the very last day. If it becomes tameh beforehand, right, on day 15, so he has to start again, all over from the beginning. But what happened on the 30th day? Soteret hakol, yes, even on the 30th day, he ruins everything, and he has to start all over again. That's Tanakama. But here in the Mishnah we have machloket. Rabbi Eliezer made and also soter ela shiv'ah. Rabbi Eliezer says no, he just has to add 7 days. And when the word soter here doesn't even really mean negate. But as we're going to see, it simply means that he's tameh. So if he's tameh, so he's going to have to wait 7 days till he becomes tahor. But that's all. Now, Hareni Nazir Shiloshim Yom Nitma Yom Shiloshim Soter Takol. If he says, I'm going to be a Nazir for 30 days, and he became Tameh on the 30th day, then that negates everything that came before. Okay, so, and it seems to be Eliezer would not have a disagreement in that case, because it has to be full 30 days. All right, so let's see. Let's apply this. Okay. So tetakol bishlam ramatana nicha. We understand this according to the matana, because you need 30 days, and if he became tameh on the 30th day, then he ruined it because you don't have 30 days. Fine. Ela barpada kashya, but this is a challenge to barpada. Barpada, you said you only need 29 days, so he finished his 29 days completely, tahor the whole time. Why do you care if he became tameh on the 30th day? That's like the same as becoming tameh next week. So why would it ruin everything? How are you going to explain this? Barpada? Amar barpada emasefa. Rabbi Eliezer omer eno soter ela shib'a. Barpada says, "Oh, I'm gonna follow Rabbi Eliezer here." He says, "No, it only cancels out, and it does not cancel out. Just have to add 7 days." How could Rabbi Eliezer say that? If you think that you need 30 days, Rav Matana, then the whole thing should be undone. So you see, based on the Rabbi Eliezer, that really you just have to add 7 because he's tameh, so you have to wait 7 until he can bring his korbanot. But in fact, does not cancel it out. Now, is Bar Pada only following Rabbi Eliezer? What about he still have to answer the question for Tanakama? So we can answer that even Tanakama is saying that in Bar Pada's interpretation, even Tanakama would not say that he has to make Kad Hadin, go back and do all 30, but rather this is Lecha Techila, just like before. It's best to do a full 30. So here too, it's best to do a full 30. And if you became tameh, so go back to the beginning. But this may be only a dirabanan, lechet techila, to fill it out. But Rabbi Eliezer is representing, like the bidi avad that we had above, and the ikar hadin. The letter of the law is, yeah, you're right, 29 is enough. And the 30th day, well, he just can't bring his korbanot that day, so add another 7 till it becomes tahor. But that's all. So Bar Pada is totally fine. All right, good. Now that we answered Bar Pada, now we're going to have to bring Rabbi Eliezer into the equation for Rab Matana. So Kasabar Rabbi Eliezer miksat hayom kekulo. So how is Rab Matana going to explain Rabbi Eliezer's opinion that you don't go back to the beginning? According to Rab Matana, didn't you say you need full 30 days? And so how come when you become tameh on the 30th day, you just add 7 and you don't negate the whole thing? Oh, it must be that according to the Matana's interpretation, Rabbi Eliezer would agree that part of the day is like the whole day. And therefore, if you did the morning of the 30th day, you were tahor and you were good, we consider as if, okay, you're finished, you're totally good. Even if you become tameh in the middle of the day or at the end of the day, that's fine. You're already finished, and therefore you don't negate the whole thing. Okay, based on that, now that introduces ourselves to the next and last question, number 7, Tenan. Hareni Nazir Me'a Yom. Okay, this is the next and final because it is going on to the next Mishnah. We did say that point about Rabbi Eliezer according to the Matana because we're going to need it in the next part. Rabbi Eliezer comes up in the next Mishnah also. So this is the last Mishnah that we're going to ask from. Hareni Nazir Me'a Yom. Nitma Yom Me'a Soteret HaKol. Someone said, I'm going to be a Nazir for 100 days. And he makes it all 99 days perfectly fine. And then, poor guy, on the 100th day, he becomes Tameh. Lamet. Soteret HaKol, he ruins the whole thing, has to go all the way back to the beginning. That's Tanakama. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, eno soter ela sheloshim. Rabbi Eliezer says, no, it's all right. Just go back 30 days. Okay. So it's interesting why he says here 30 days, and the previous Mishnah said only 7 days. Nitma yom me'ah ve'echad, if it became tameh on the 101st day, soter sheloshim yom. Then he goes back 30 days, according to Tanakama. Rabbi Eliezer omer, eno soter ela shib'ah. In that case, Rabbi Eliezer says only 7. All right, so that's the original Mishnah. Let's see how we ask. So 100 days, on the 100th day, he became tameh. He has to go all the way back to the beginning according to Tanakama. Rabbi Eliezer says that's just 30 days. He has to redo 30 days, but not all 100. Now you just told me at the end that according to the Matana, Rabbi Eliezer agrees that part of a day is like a whole day. Therefore, since he did 100 days up to the morning of the 100th day, then that should be like a full day. And therefore, Nistor Shiba, fine, add 7 because he's Tameh Lamet. But why do you have to add 30? And if he thinks that we don't say part of a day is like a whole day, well then he became tameh on the 100th day, and then that should go all the way back to the beginning and count it as 0. So what is this 30 days that Rabbi Eliezer says here? Either it should be, all good and just add 7, or nothing and go back to the beginning. So how are you going to explain this? Le'olam lo amrinan miksat hayom kekolo. So you know what? I'm going to explain this part as saying that Rabbi Eliezer does not agree that part of a day is like a whole day. And if so, I know you just asked, if part of a day is not like a whole day, then he should go all the way back to the beginning, because you need the full 100th day. Amar Lakish, Hainu Tamad Rabbi Eliezer, Amar Kera, Zot Torat HaNazir, Beyom Melot Yemei Nizro. HaTorah Amra, Nitma Beyom Melot, Ten Lo Torat Nazir. This is the explanation of Rabbi Eliezer. There's a pasuk. The pasuk says, this is Torat HaNazir, the law of the Nazir, on the day that he completes the days of his Nizro. So we're going to take these phrases and explain as follows. If he became tameh on Yom Melot, in other words, B'Yom Melot Yemei Nizra, that has a special law. If you got until the end and the last day of your Nazirut, you became tameh, then you don't have to go back to the beginning, but rather give him Torat Nazir. Torat Nazir, the minimum amount of a Nazir is 30 days. In other words, Torat HaNazir, Torat Nazir is given to someone who becomes tameh on Yom Melot. That's where he got it from, and really, we do not need to say Miksat Yom Kekolo to explain the Rabbi Eliezer. All right, and that answers the question for all the opinions, and that's the end of the 7 questions. Okay, so we finished with that, and now we're going to add on another possibility of trying to line up these 2 Amoraim, Ramatana and Bar Pada, or 2 Amoraim. Let's see if we can line them up with 2 Tanaim. Lema ketanae ad melot hayamim. These 2 Tanaim disagree on how we explain this pasuk. Ad melot hayamim, right? Until the days are complete that the Nazir set for himself. Shoma'ani mi'ut yamim shenaim. So what does that mean? Until these days are complete. Now, if you just take the word days and it's plural, so the minimum amount that is plural would be 2. So can it be just 2 days? Would that be the minimum nizirut? No. Talmud Omar Kadosh Yeh Gadel Pera. Pasuk says that he will be holy because his hair grows long. And Gidul Sapachot Misheloshim Dibre Rabbi Yoshia. Your hair does not grow much in 2 days. When do you call some hair growing that now it's too long? Oh, that would be 30 days, right? That's when the Kohanim take haircuts. So that's why Melot Hayamim means the minimum standard. Nazir is 30 days. That's Rabbi Oshia. Rabbi Yonatan Omer, and Osarich. In this Baraita, Rabbi Yonatan says, I don't need to learn it from there. I have a better way to learn it. Harehu Omer, Ad Melot Hayamim. Elu hen Hayamim shesirichin lemaleot. Heve Omer Sheloshim. Until the days are full. What kind of time period can be lesser and fuller? Well, that's Sheloshim, that's a month, right? A month is really 29 and a half days technically, and so sometimes we count it Haser, 29-day month, and sometimes Maleh, 30-day month. So if you're going to say Melot, until the fullness of a time period, we already know that the word yom can mean many different things. It doesn't only mean a 24-hour day. So it can mean a year, it can mean a month, and here it must mean a month because a month is a time period that can be lesser, but it can also be full. So we need a melot, a full month. All right, that's the Bionatan. So now we're going to line this up. My love, Rab Matana Damar Kirebi Yoshia, Ubar Pada Damar Kirebi Yonatan. It looks like Rab Matana will say like Rabbi Yoshia. He said, Rab Matana said, you need a full 30 days. Like Rabbi Yoshia, you need a full 30 days. When hair when hair grows long, in a full 30 days. Whereas Bar Pada, he's the one that said 29 days. Oh, he could agree with Rabbi Yonatan because, after all, a month is 29 days. I mean, sometimes it's really 29 and a half, but so it's not yet 30. It's 29 plus, but less than 30. So we can line them up that way. Should we line them up? Well, we'd rather not, because we'd rather that each Amorah can explain himself according to all the Tanaim. So that's what we answer. No, I'm going to explain myself according to all the Tanaim, and everyone agrees that you need 30. Rabbi Yoshia sabar ad velo ad bichlal. Rabbi Yonatan sabar ad ve'ad bichlal. In fact, everyone agrees that you need 30. That's what I say. That's what Matana says. And here they're disagreeing about the word ad melot, yemen nizra. That word ad, until, does that mean until in an inclusive way or not? Rabbi Yoshia says ad velo ad bichlal. Ad means until 30, but not including. So if just you had that word, it would really be only 29 days. That's why Rabbi Yoshia says adds to that, you have to wait till the hair grows, and hair growing is 30 days, right? You need a full 30 days, and then you get another haircut. We learned that from the Kohanim, who get a haircut every 30 days. So that's why he says 30 days, because that's how long it takes hair to grow. Whereas the Yonatan says, I don't need that. I say ad means ad vad bichlal. That includes the 30th day as well. Thinking about the moon, and the moon, it has to be a full time period. A moon is something that can sometimes be less and sometimes be more. But he's not learning it from the lesser part of it, but rather from the greater part of it. Since the word ad is inclusive of the ends, so therefore something that can be filled out, which is a month, and ad is an inclusive of the end, so that's a full big month of 30 days. So really they both agree it's 30 days, as Rav Matana said. One is just emphasizing that we learn it from the hair, not from the word ad. The other one says the word ad plus the fact that the moon has to be filled out, that's where we get 30 days. Okay, one last point about this 30-day part, and it's connecting with the moon. Amar mor elu hen hayimim shesrichin lemalot have omer sheloshim. For Rabbi Yonatan, we saw that it has to be filled out because it's a month, right? Because a month is something that can be less and can be more. And now we ask, Ve'ema Shabbat, why do you assume it's a month? Maybe Shabbat, that has to be filled out as a week. A full week, not 5 days, not 6 days, but a Shabbat. So maybe Yemelot, the minimum of a Nazir would be 1 week. No, Shabbat mika chasiduta. No, Shabbat can never be a lesser week. There's never a short week and a long week. A week is always exactly the same. So that's why we picked a month, because a month can be chaser and maleh. And that's why we want that one than when picking the maleh one. Okay, ve'ema shana. Hold on, maybe a year. Years are different sizes also, right? Sometimes there's an extra month. Sometimes they're 12 months, sometimes 13 months. So we say, no, we never count a year with days. But rather with months, right? If we have to add 11, we don't add 11 days to fill out the lunar to a solar month. Solar is 365. So if a solar year, we count by days, because that's always the same. Whereas lunar months, 354 plus, we really have to add 11. We don't add 11 days. We add a whole month. So that's why ad melot yemeh nizra. So it has to be something that is filled out with days, and we don't count years by days. How do we know that? How do you know that we don't consider the number of days in a year. That's variable. Since Parashat Hashavua, Parashat Bo, right? Rishonu lachem lechodshei hashana. We talk about the months of a year. So we do count. How do we calculate a year? Well, we decide how many months are going to be there. Usually 12 months. Sometimes we add Adar Sheni, that'll be 13 months. And that we adjust it within that. But we do not take into account how many days there need to be in a year. All right, the days, it follows, we know we calculate how many days should be in each month. So it's true, sometimes you can push off Rosh Hashanah so that Yom Kippur doesn't fall out on Friday or on Sunday by adding another day to one of the previous months. So that will make the year a day longer or shorter. But actually, it's not directly affecting the year. We just affect the month, whether each month is going to be Maleh and Chaser, and then we put in all the months and you get a year. That's actually a really important principle. And that's why the Rabbi Yonatan said that since it says melot, fullness of days has to be in something that is filled out with days, and that can only be a month, not a week, and not a year. Baruch Adonai Leolam, Amen v'Amen.